So, we have been discussing technology, banking, finance all day. That we felt we must not lose out on covering at least one self-development and career-based, topic. So, career counseling is a small part of our traditional system. However, it has not gained much traction or is not being taken very seriously in today's, setup. With what we do at EduBridge, we believe that counseling for all learners is crucial and helps shape their mindsets along with the skill sets. So, keeping this in mind, our next session is based on how to build a successful career path. Now, we have amongst us one of the top career coaches of India, Ms. Dhairya Gangwani. Welcome, Dhairya. How are you doing today?
Hi, Mamta. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible, loud and clear. Well,
Wonderful.
let me just take this opportunity to introduce you to our audience. Well, Dhairya is an ECE engineer turned management consultant who is now a full-time career coach and content creator. She has worked with KPMG in India as a SAP associate consultant for 2 years and I think 7 months. She has delivered more than 300 talks all across the globe in the past 1.5 year alone. As a career coach via her initiative of Dhairya Decodes, she has been able to impact over 5,000 working professionals and students. She also has her own talk show called the Career Development Series, where she aims to bring awareness amongst the youth around unconventional career paths. The talk show has completed more than 160 episodes so far. She was selected as one of the top 50 content creators in India by Graphy by an Academy in the year 2021 and is currently a part of the first cohort of the top 200 creators selected to be part of the LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program in India 2022. Please join me in welcoming her. As you can see there, all the reactions here for you, all the claps here for you. So welcome. Thank you for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us here.
It's completely my pleasure. Thanks for the wonderful introduction, Mamta. I am really happy to be here. I think, mentoring and just interacting with working professionals and students is what keeps me going. It is what I thrive on and I get to do every single day. So it's a privilege for me. Okay, with that, let's get started.
Sure.
I know we all have limited slots, but I want to make sure that the next, 25 to 30 minutes are super insightful for all of you, irrespective of whether you are just a student in college right now, you've just graduated, or you are a experienced working professional, right? I want to be able to cater to all of you, and we want to try and answer as many questions as you have for me as well. I'll typically want to start with what the context is today. I think Mamta mentioned we're here to talk about how to build a successful career. Now, while I know the word success is something that is different ways by different people, just keeping in mind that by and large, by default, we are assuming that a successful career is one wherein you are happy doing what you're doing and you thrive at it. With that context, I'd like to share 5 steps which you can probably follow to build a successful career, irrespective of where you are in your career journey today, right? So I'm going to quickly start sharing my screen. Just give me a second. Okay, I'll just also turn on my camera again because this goes off. Yeah. Now, do let me know if you are able to.
Yes, we can see your
See
slides.
the.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let's get started. So, like I mentioned, how do you build a successful career, right? That is the question in picture today. Now, I want to start with the first step and talk about steps to build a successful career. Now, the first thing that I want to emphasize on, again, irrespective of what path or, what timeline are you working in with respect to your career or life journey is, having a very strong why, right? Asking yourself, why are you doing certain things? Now, let me take a typical example. If you're a college student and let's say you're in your second year, just an example, and you realize that, you know what, I'm really inclined towards a particular field, let's say marketing. I'm just intrigued by it, but I'm also inclined towards, let's say, business development. I want to explore it. Now, knowing that you're intrigued towards it or inclined towards it, it interests you is good. But asking yourself and going one step further and knowing why is it that out of so many other options, and so many things that I see your peers doing around you, your seniors doing around you, why did marketing in the first place catch your eye, right? Similarly, if you're a working professional who is, let's say, looking to make a career switch, for example, and you are currently in a data analytics job, and you decide one day that, you know what, yes, I've liked what I've done. I had a fairly good stint, and I've applied my skills. I've tested them, done well for my firm, etc. But now I want to probably move on to a consulting job, for example. Now, the day that thought comes to your head, the very next question that should come to your head is, why was consulting the only thing that came to my mind after data analytics? Or why would I want to switch from data analytics to consulting? The point being, long story short, no matter whatever it is that you're trying to do to build a successful career, the first solid step is your why. If your why is clear with respect to whatever you're doing, then everything else falls into place. The other four steps that I'm going to talk about will automatically become very easy to follow, right? So have your why very crystal clear to yourself. Your why could be anything, right? Even if you're choosing a career path because probably it has got high paying jobs, it's okay. It's your why and you just own it. But you should be clear that that's the reason you're choosing this, right? If it is a career path you're taking up because you've heard it's going to boom in the next 5 years, so be it. But you should be honest with yourself as to why you're taking it up. So that's step one. The second thing, once you know why is it that you're doing something, is to actually not put yourself in a box. I always say this. Even when you know why you're doing certain things, don't limit yourself to just one or two things. I think experimentation is very important, and irrespective of what you're doing in your career, it is important. If you feel one day that you want to try out something new, it is not wrong as long as you, like I said, know why you're doing it. So for example, I see a lot of college students, especially when they have the opportunity to try out different things, if they've decided marketing, they'll stick to it and they'll not try out anything else. It's good to have a clear vision, but until you would have tried out different things, how will you know that it is marketing that you would want to stick around and do, right? So my point is, practical experimentation is very important. If you have realized web development, software engineering, and UI UX designing, all three interest you, I would recommend you go out there and try something in all three of them. Could be a certification, could be a self-paced project, could be taking part in a hackathon, right? Could be learning a software or a language, but do something pertinent to each one of these fields, at least one thing. Try it out and then come to a conclusion, probably which one would you like to then further pick. Experimentation shouldn't be something you fear, right? That is what I would recommend. I mean, personally, my journey, if I was to correlate it that way, if I did not do 25 plus internships before I graduated, there was no way I would have clarity by fourth year that consulting is what I wanted to do. Right? And then in consulting, when I did my job for 2 years, I discovered my passion for mentoring, right? And I realized that that is actually my true calling. My point is, you have to keep experimenting to know what is possible and what you could be good at, right? And don't think that you're confused, right? A lot of people think that people who keep trying new things are confused. I mean, I remember back in college, everybody used to think this girl is confused, but I think, in fact, I was very clear with what I wanted to do. I was very clear that whatever I would do would be within management, but management is huge. There's sales, there's operations, there is consulting, there is BD, there's so much, right? So I wanted to figure out what within management should I do. Hence, I did 25 internships, not because I was confused. So my point is, don't let the society tell you or define that you can't experiment or try out things or you're confused, right? As long as you know what you're doing, I don't think it should be a problem, right? That's the second step. I think the third step is to go one step further and deep dive into something practically, right? Which means that now if you have understood your why, you've tried out things practically, you've experimented, given yourself the room to experiment. Now is the time that you narrow down on one thing, definitely, make an affirmative decision, and then go deep into it, which is practically gain knowledge in it. If you have realized product management, it is your thing, you would like to give it at least the next 1 or 2 years of your life. I'm not even talking about the rest of your life. If you see yourself for the next 1.5 years or 2 years doing that, then you have to make sure that you're putting in all the effort to become a good product manager, to get hired in your dream company as a product manager, which is everything that it takes, whether it's doing an internship, whether it is doing a certification, whether it is speaking to folks who are already successful product managers. Each and every action that you're going to take to be able to deep dive into that particular niche is important, right? so that I'm not saying you have to become a master or become like a subject matter expert at it, but you have to come to a level wherein you know what you bring to the table and you're skilled enough, right? Moving on to the fourth step, which is very, very crucial, and I would explain it into halves, I would say, right? Which is profile building, concentrating on profile building. Now, let me break down this word. Profile building does not mean building your profile on LinkedIn or Naukri or having a good resume. No, it's a 360-degree thing. It's holistic growth. As an individual, once you've positioned yourself in your head as what you see yourself doing, which domain you see yourself working in, the world has to also see that. And they have to see that from a 360 perspective. Your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your other social media profiles, everything else that is there, maybe your portfolio, your website, anything that is there to showcase has to be in sync and aligned, should speak for you, should speak for what you're capable of doing, right? Everything has to depict that you have enough experience or you are somebody who should be hired by a firm in that particular domain, right? For me as a consultant to get into management consulting without a B school degree, it was very important that every time I applied for an internship, my internship applications, every time I applied for a job, my resume, my LinkedIn profile, every time I spoke to somebody and I exchanged, let's say, my website with them or anything else, spoke for my capabilities and was aligned with what I was speaking to them about, both online and offline. That is profile building. It's 360 degrees, right? So it's extremely essential that all the skills you have built, anything else that you have learned, and whatever you naturally know about that particular domain as a life skill or a managerial skill is also reflecting across all of those things and offline, right? That is what I mean by profile building. And moving on to the last step, which is building the right mindset to have a successful career. The most important thing after you have done all of this is to go in with a winning mindset. Anytime you're applying for a job, you're applying for an opportunity where you're competing with people, right? Where you are striving to stand out from people. The most important thing is your mindset and what you think of yourself. The word job seeker is perceived in a very negative sense, right? Job seekers always think of themselves as people who are desperate to get jobs and we need the job, which is the wrong mindset. You have to not literally take the word seek. You have to make yourself worthy enough that when you get into a room, you know what you bring to the table and you will try your best. The rest is just left to whatever it is. I mean, at any point of time, you shouldn't feel that company is, obliging you by giving you a job. You are also going to be a part of that company and add in a lot of worth and value to it. They need you as much as you need them. And I'm not saying you have to be overconfident, but you have to go in with a winning mindset that I'm here to give in my best. I've done my best. I've done my prep. I've done my research. My technical skills, my resume, everything is in place. It's all done. And now all that I can do is just go with that winning mindset, right? So nowhere should you feel that you are somebody who is just being given a job because you're looking for a job. Never do that. And I think that is the most important thing to build a successful career. And even if you were to in the future not do a typical job and do something of your own, I think it's very important to go with a mindset wherein you know that you bring something valuable to the table, because that's when people working around you, with you, will value you as well as an asset, right? And I also feel that one more thing that I'd like to add on beyond these 5 steps to build a successful career, I think, is that a lot of people have started saying that, soft skills are very important or they're more important than technical skills. A lot of people still say that no, technical skills are very important. I beg to differ with both the, viewpoints. I feel that neither of the two will ever be more important than each other, but we've come to a time and age wherein both of them are equally important and you can't go ahead in life or succeed without any of them. That's my perspective, right? It can never be the case that a soft skill will become more important than a technical skill or vice versa, in my opinion. Both are very important. It's the time to concentrate on life skills today more than anything else. I think you can't just think that if your resume is in place, you have learned a couple of languages, particular softwares for a tech job, and okay, your communication skill is also in place, you're done. What about your life skills, which is how emotionally intelligent you are? How do you work in a team? How do you react to situations? How are you with problem solving? These are things that will help you in any job, any particular job on earth, in any company, right? So I think we've found a time wherein life skills, it's the age of life skills, and people who have mastered that over and beyond technical and management skills are the ones who will get better opportunities, right? And I think would potentially have a great career for themselves. So I think that was a little bit of what I wanted to cover with respect to 5 steps to build a successful career. And I think with that, what we could probably do is open up the floor for questions, because I really spend more time on answering your questions. I also believe that a topic like career guidance or, career related thing cannot be generalized. I cannot answer everything for everybody. Everybody has different career problems. Everybody is in a different phase of their career. So I think maybe taking up your personal questions would benefit you more, I feel. So I think would love to take up your questions.
Sure, Dhairya. Thank you so much for the information that you shared so far. There are quite a few questions, but I think I'll just pick the best ones out of that, and then maybe we can answer the rest over email.
Yes.
So let's begin the first one. How can I network effectively?
Yeah. So I think that's obviously a really good question. And second, networking again is two-faced, right? It's online and offline. Today, we just think of networking, we think of digital platforms. And while I'm a big pioneer of the platform LinkedIn, and obviously it's the best platform to begin networking professionally at least, I would like to cover both aspects, online and offline, right? We talk about networking, let's cover online first. Typically, if you want to professionally connect with individuals who you look up to or who could help you potentially in the future with any kind of, let's say, job referrals, opportunities, etc., I think LinkedIn definitely hands down would be the best platform you should begin with, right? Because that's going to give you exposure to most of the folks working a similar industry and who have already accomplished and done where you done things where you want to be, and you know what you want to achieve. So I think if you can build a good optimized profile on LinkedIn that is up to date, and you have the right keywords in place so that the right people can find you, and also create content. Now, let me please clarify, content doesn't have to be created or is not only created by content creators. Content is nothing but a form of expression of what you're doing, right? Even you as an employee of a company, as a student, can create content, which is your learnings from your job, anything that you know technically that you want to share. If you are, let's say, in the data science field, you can share things relevant to data analytics, data science, anything that's happening, your thoughts on a particular research publication, literally anything under the sky. What that does for you indirectly is folks in your industry will slowly be shown that post of yours by the LinkedIn algorithm. You organic reach. Ultimately, recruiters and people in the niche will start noticing you, and you actually create job opportunities for yourself, because only when you get noticed will you get approached. So LinkedIn, one is to make a good profile and send connection to right people. That's building a network. But if you want to build a strong community of people who trust you, I think you'll create content in your niche, then that would be really helpful. That's how you'll be able to network with, the subject matter experts in that domain, because they'll follow you because you're creating content in that niche, right? So I think that's online. Coming to offline, I think it's very important to figure out, for example, I mean, if you're in the market research analysis space, for example, I'm sure a lot of conferences happen for market research, relevant to market research, etc. Now, you'll have to go on the internet, do a little bit of research, and figure out how many of these conferences happen online versus offline. What are the prerequisites to attend them? What kind of people take sessions or keynotes here? Is it going to be beneficial for me at this stage of my career path and journey, right? Similarly, irrespective of what career path you are in, if there are any meetups happening wherein you can catch up with individual or industry professionals, or there are sessions that are happening online, or summits happening, right, or conferences, I think you should just be a little more active in terms of research and being up to date with what's happening on Google, and also be on platforms like a LinkedIn, wherein you can get to know about these events that are happening, right? So that way you can network with professionals offline as well. And I think a blend of both is more than enough to build up yourself. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I think that's really, insightful. And of course, with the 2-3 different options that are available for them, it would get easier to now network and have a better brand building. So the next question we have here is, how can I negotiate a higher salary or better benefits from the company?
Perfect. Okay. So I personally feel that no matter what scenario you put a person in, whether it's purchasing a purse, buying groceries, or sitting in an interview room, or pitching your services as a freelancer, there's always room for negotiation in life. We all know anything that's quoted to you at a particular price never comes at that price, never, right? You can always put it up by a percentage or a margin, plus minus, above or below. So that's first thing. The first thing is that there is obviously negotiation. It's just the intent and the way you approach that negotiation, especially in a situation where you're trying to land the job, right? And sometimes it may be your dream job. You have to deal with it very delicately yet diplomatically, right? That's the beauty. So I think the first you are in an interview and you know that you are here and you know there's a particular range that you're going to be offered, or you are already aware this is the CTC that was there on the JD, on the job description. Now, one thing you have to understand is they put that basis the budget they've been given, but there is always room. Okay. Second thing, you can't get into a room without doing your research well. It's one thing to know that I did this. It's another thing to know that people with similar experience, expertise, and other experience are getting paid how much. So if you go into that room, it's good to be confident, but if you go into the room without doing your research, that on an average, let's say a business analyst, typically in India, between let's say an average CTC of 4 lakhs to a max of 10 lakhs. If you don't know that range and you are going there as an analyst, yes, some companies may have like a 12 and all, but that's after an MBA. That's why the research is important. And if you're routine, that negotiation might not work unless you're very confident about what you bring to the table. So the point is, market research and analysis is important before you demand anything. Secondly, it's very important that you always quote a range. I don't think you should quote a direct figure ever. Don't be like, oh, they're offering a 10 and I'm like, can you give me a 12? Why don't you rather say, I think I would want to work around something between an 11.5 to 12.5 rather, instead of a 10? Because if not, maybe they'll lock it at 11.5 or 11.75 or 12, but you'll at least fall into a range. That way you don't feel like you didn't get what you deserved as well. And they will also look at it from a broader perspective, I feel. When you come to one figure, there'll always be a little difficulty, you will not be satisfied. I think quoting a range is better. Third tip I'd like to give is, at times, don't just talk about what skills would you bring to the table that is aligned with the job role you are applying for. Also talk about external or additional skills that you come with and you bring to the table, so that you can show them that you have the capability to wear multiple hats and come with multidisciplinary skills. For example, to again become a business analyst, yes, JD pe likha hua, it's mentioned on the job description. You need ABCD skills, and typically you're applying for that job, you've made it till the last round, means you have those skills. 90-95%. Talk about other things. What more do you bring to the table, right? What else can you help them with? What are the other departments you could come to use in the future, if not now? Show them how you're an asset for the firm. And then hence tell them that hence I deserve an X plus 2 and not X, right? Because of ABCD in addition to what you already need. So I think those could be the three things that you can keep in mind when negotiating a salary. Yeah.
So I think it all boils down to the value that you create in the system that you are, a part of.
Definitely.
That makes absolutely, absolute sense there. I think in the interest of time, we'll just take one more question. And then if I can just email the rest of the questions to you and you'll be kind enough to answer them, we just forward it to the specific learners later on. So the last question here we have is, how can I balance the demands of my job and my personal life?
Very good question. So, I'll tell you, there are three things, right? The first one is that I was just telling this to somebody very recently, that the word balance exists in the dictionary at least. There is going to be no time where things will be balanced, is what I've understood. I'm fairly obviously young into this working space. It's been 3 years, but I've realized in 3 years itself there'll never be balance. So please remove that imaginary fantasy from your head. Firstly, what you can rather do is start. There's something called priority and there's something called adjustment that exists. Adjust your skill. You can accommodate things. You can't balance things, right? I put it that way. Now, if you want to be able to accommodate most of the things you want to do in life, the first thing that has to come to your mind is what matters to me the most. I mean, 2 years ago, because I was side hustling my full-time job, There was no way that I would let any individual, anybody, or even my family come in that way. And my family was very clear with it. They knew it that these 2 years, I'm going to only concentrate on myself, my career, because I want to ultimately do something of my own, for which I have to work extra hours, have to put in the effort, I have to hustle, and you have to have with it. I was very vocal. My friends understood that. My family understood that. Personal life never existed, and I know can probably not exist till a certain time. So the point is, I made that conscious decision that I'm saying this is for me. Now, 2.5 years later, well, luckily things have played out well. Everything, the hustle, kind of paid off. And I know that I am privileged enough to be in a position, let me use the word privilege, that I can give some time to my family now. I can have some time for my friends now. And I can have a life work. So I take Sundays off, which I never imagined 3 months back. Since 3 months, I've made it a rule that I will not work on a Sunday, no matter what. So the point is, it's a priority. Now it is my priority to take a little less work and not work on Sundays. Whereas 2 years back, Saturday, Sundays used to be like I wouldn't even get 15 minutes of a break. That was also my choice. This is also my choice. So you decide what you want to do. And you will have to sacrifice. No one can achieve everything without sacrifices. It's not possible. It is just not possible. And the second thing I think that really worked very well for me is, I think the more you start taking boxing very seriously and you start doing things in a certain time frame and put everything on a calendar, might sound very basic. It made my life very easy. I started everything on a calendar. Half an hour, like I know, 6 to 6:30 is for EduBridge and SkillsFactor. I am here. Nobody else can take that time of mine. Then I know I have a 10-minute buffer and then I'll move to my next session. Right? So the point is, the moment I know that in the morning 11 to 12 is for me, is for my reading time, whatever, it's not going anywhere. Right? 12 to 1 is for, whatever documentation or whatever I have to do. 1 to 4, I'm going to take some sessions. Things just became very easy for me because now I knew when that I could relax and when I have to put complete focus to what I have to do. So I think being very clear and scheduling your day around a calendar and following it religiously also keeps you motivated with looking forward to the time where you're going to get a break and rejuvenate and come back. So I think that has really helped. And I think the last thing that I have to give you, share with you as a tip is, if you can, understand, like I said, make certain choices wherein certain opportunities that come your way, but to give a priority one thing over another, that would also really help you in the long run. So let me put it this way, maybe I'm not able to frame it. The point is that right now you may feel that the time you're not being able to, let's say, give, a lot of people also think that, it's very important to do something of your own today or do something on the side, etc. Yes, it is important. It's good if you do it. But let me tell you, if it doesn't come to you naturally, go into that idea of somebody just telling you have a side hustle or you should also have something like it. Do it only if you have a strong reason to do it, right? That balance will also be needed. I think a lot of people, I'm not obviously denying that people in full-time jobs also obviously have to definitely given a lot of time to their job. I've been there. That takes up half of your time anyways. Even they struggle with taking out time for the family. Don't put that extra pressure of doing something extra just because the world today is telling you, in addition, and your family or whatever, something extra is needed. Only if it comes to you naturally, you feel the need, do it. And then do it with all vigor. But don't do it just because people are telling you to do it. And then you will unnecessarily create an environment wherein your basic life will also not function properly. Yeah.
Yeah, totally makes sense, Dhairya. I think, that was all this is truly edifying, in fact. And, I do believe that the time was really less to cover the gamut of tips that you could have had for our audience and also answered many more questions for them. However, I'll just email, these questions put together. And please, if you would be kind enough to answer them, as best as you possibly can, that would be really great.
So just in case I don't, which I not to, I don't reply to your emails or anything, I'm pretty approachable on LinkedIn. You can find me by my name and reach out to me with any queries or an email. Would love to answer all your questions.
Sure, that is really, really helpful. I'll put up Dhairya's, LinkedIn profile link here on chat, and everybody can actually save that and can reach out to you whenever they need some guidance from your end. So I'm sure the audiences. Thank you so much, Dhairya. I'm sure the audience is going back with a lot of pointers already that they can start to work on. And, it was truly an honor to host you. And I'm, hoping that the next time you're here, we have, a complete 1 hour where you can answer just questions from the audience. And that will be a really amazing experience for them. So thank you once again, Dhairya, for joining us today. You can now exit the webinar and we'll continue with our sessions here.
Yeah, thanks.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah.